Welcome to everybody. Wanted to give everybody just a little background. I had come out to Nemacolin back in January with 3Wire and sat in on this exact same workshop. After I sat through that, I really thought a lot about Merlin. I thought a lot about our culture and stuff, and I was like, I think this would just be a great experience for us to do it, a good experience to get sales and delivery together, spend some time doing some team building, but also a little personal development. I know I got a lot out of it, and I'm looking forward to doing it again. That's how I met Jonathan Golding and the OIC group. When we made the decision to start creating more of a collaborative and coordinated environment where there's communication that happens, instead of treating this like it's a company of 85 entrepreneurs, that's when I think we've started to make the corner, or turn the corner, and become more successful.
You guys are very successful. You've had some phenomenal years here. You're doing a lot of things right. And then what are the areas you can kind of tweak and adjust and make an adjustment right here to make things better, more efficient, more effective? You got kind of a big task here, because I've heard John talk about culture change. Culture is how we do things around here. How do you shift the culture? That's exciting stuff, you see. So one of my takeaways for this tomorrow is that you walk out of here as being kind of change agents. It used to be that if you want to get greater results, you had to work harder. Remember that? The early bird gets the worm, that kind of stuff. You had to get up in the morning and do that stuff. Somewhere around the mid-'80s, it became, if you want to get greater results, you need to work what? Smarter. You need to network, improvise, use these other strengths. I guarantee going into the 21st century, it is about focus. I like to call it working on purpose. What is your purpose? And that's a great question for Merlin. What is your purpose? What is your identity? What are your core strengths? What are you good at? What do people depend on you for? Part of being, in my mind, a great leader and a person of influence is you give people the benefit of the doubt. And you assume positive intentions. That someone acts a certain way, they have your best interest in mind, or they're doing the right thing. See, my experience has been most people come to work wanting to do a good job. See, so how do you and we create an environment that brings out the best in the people, give people the benefit of the doubt, assume positive intentions. Talking should lead to one or two things, either to greater understanding of the issue or to an action item, or to the parking lot. So let's say those three. So it would lead to greater understanding of the issue, parking lot, or action item. The amount of doing you can do with anybody is directly proportionate to the amount of rapport you have with them. So we've all known people who've kind of come in and tried to tell you what to do, or sales guys know that you just can't come in and tell people what to do. You got to establish that rapport with them and have some kind of relationship with them first before you can kind of do that. What's been the value of spending 2 hours out of your important time to hear the introductions of people and what they had to say?
People have similar goals and hopes and dreams, and being part of this company get you to your endpoint, your goals.
I think some of the new people, I'd like to hear about some, I think there are some underlying things that we really need to get out and talk about. And I think we're touching on them a little bit, and I just want to make sure that we have an opportunity to revisit that.
When we did our paired sharing this morning, there were 3 questions that we haven't addressed yet. One is the amount of changes that you've experienced personally and professionally, right? So all the ones, when I say go, we'll go back to that back flip chart right there and start writing down on a flip chart all the changes you've experienced personally and professionally. 2, we'll go over here, which is Merlin's strengths. What are you good at? What are you proud of? What do you want to continue to what do you not want to lose that you want to hold on to as you keep going through your change and transition? And number 3 is right there, it says values. Now the 3s is kind of a 2-part question. Values is what gives you guidance when you want to move forward and you're not quite sure what to do. You go to your values. What are the values that you see Merlin should have going forward? The other part is, let's do a reality check. Based on observable behavior, what would the values appear to be now? Once you've made your contribution to one of the flip charts, rotate to another one. So the end result here is that everyone gets a chance to write on all 3 flip charts.
It's obviously grown with great leadership. Good at what we do and stable organization. Our customers appreciate us because we're vendor agnostic, and because of that, they trust us.
This is a list of the changes within the last 12 to 18 months. Some of them are obviously from a professional standpoint, some of them are from a personal standpoint.
We have over here individuality over team is a value. These are the things that we're actually demonstrating today, not that we want them. We may want them, but this is what we have today. It's a sales run organization. We have an attitude of do whatever it takes.
I think there's some seeds in here for future growth because you're talking about current state and desired state, and of course, that's where you get from point A to point B, and how do you do that? How do you move from this value-based organization right now to this value-based organization? So I think there's lots of the kernels in here that you can kind of work with as you keep going forward, because ultimately it's about results, right? We know that. Let's look at the output to the JT question right here.
Focus on IT solution set, leverage technology expertise to grow services revenue, build up practice of core solution architecture while still supporting correct transaction opportunities.
There are a lot of issues that are identified. There are a lot of things that we need to work on. There's a lot in the parking lot, and it's not all Porsches. But I think it's the right step. It's progress forward so far, and that was what my goal was to get out of the couple of days.
I too have been to these before, and I thought this was very productive, very focused, very, everyone gets a turn, the group does something, and then boom, you were so good at bringing down a message and a takeaway, and we all stopped and paid attention.
For me, I think today is, since I'm a newer guy, I got a chance to talk to a bunch of you, and I think that's achieved what I thought I would get out of this, which is an awareness of what people do here.
I just think this has been great too. And I didn't want to come up here. We've all got so much to do. We've got RFPs, everything, but it has been great. And I really hope that we make it a regular thing. Not that, but maybe twice a year or whatever, where you bring the people together. It's really important. We don't take the time to do this because we're all so busy.
I mean, look what we've achieved in the last 12 months as a company, and frankly, we're just scratching the surface right now. We've got so much room for growth. So personally, I feel like I've got a shot of energy from being here in the room and hearing everybody's valuable input.
It's been just great to really witness everybody together. And I've been at a few companies, smaller than this, much larger than this, and I have to say that for all perceptions aside, you are light years ahead of many experiences I've had.
I think we uncovered a lot of things that we need to dig deeper into, and I agree that we can't focus on all of those things all the time and get them all done tomorrow like we all like, and that we have to realize that some of those things are going to be the next wave.
I thought today was terrific from my perspective. It's the first time at Merlin since I've been here in 2 months that I really felt like everybody was kind of coming together, and that concept of an actual team. So I'm really hopeful. I mean, I'm really actually very positive.
For me, this has just been great. I'm tickled pink.